we're trying to do. And we're trying to bring on people that are demonstrating these ideas, these concepts of more awareness in their channels. And that means, realistically, challenging a lot of popular memes today, especially on YouTube. And the popular memes are reductionism, determinism, atheism, and all of them are rational. It's not a bad thing to be rational, as in purely rational. That's the only perspective.
Rationality as
that's the only perspective they're using, and it's good for what it is. But if you are just using that as an ends in mean, like you said, then it's kind of like going like this. You're looking at something in a one dimension, and you don't get. I mean, I can't think of a better way to do it. If you know this, that's you're fundamentally at a handicap because you don't have depth perception.
Right.
Do you feel this way? I mean, I see you nodding. I mean, is this something you've intuited long ago? Did it just recently hit you? Did you ever have a point where atheism seemed like it might be right for you? If so, why? If not, why? And how did you fundamentally get across that gap from religion or religious to spiritual? If there is a gap in for the sake of this kind of talk.
Probably around like 2007 during my whole transition away from, that was pretty much where I transitioned away from organized religion into my spiritual path. And that I think around that time I kind of quit classifying, I quit thinking of atheism as being this untouchable, like evil thing like I used to think it was.
Yeah.
And I was experimenting with it, but then I thought about, I guess I had Taoism to really get that, the message of there being the one eternal, oneness to everything. So it's not like there is this duality. It's either there's God or no God or any of this shit. It's like, so that really got me through that transition. So I never really got stuck into atheism. I did consider myself agnostic at one point, just because I didn't know what the hell was going on. But I,
That's what you do.
But I did. Yeah, exactly. I'm a spiritual agnostic. So like, I know what you're saying though. I have seen, I watch people. I haven't watched them lately, but like Nicotine on YouTube, just to name one. I mean, he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
And but he seems to represent this like very rational, empirical reality. Hold on, and like.
But he's a musician too, so there's that other side,
Yeah.
He's part phantasmagorical.
He's getting there.
You talked about Lucas. You talked about being aware of this higher frequency that you I guess first contacted on ayahuasca, but now you remember it still ever since. And it seems like talking about frequencies is a good way to get at this metaphor of depth.
Yeah.
And depth is the result of being aware of more dimensions at once. So it's almost as though there are certain frequencies aligned with certain worldviews, and depending on your own frequency, the world itself is going to manifest in a different way.
Yeah, you're going to co-create it in a different way.
Right. It's not that you start collapsing material objects. It's the meaning that the world of material objects has is what shifts as the dimensions change. And so an atheist sees the world and the universe as basically, it's in the end all for naught. There's no higher purpose. So
very, mechanic.
Right. The natural world is all determined. So I'm just here to make the best of it,
Yeah. Fuck as many people as I can.
Well, not necessarily, but still, it's.
You can let me finish.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't hurt them.
Right. Right. You take a very utilitarian sort of approach to life.
And that makes sense.
Everyone wins.
It makes sense though. If you're not hurting anybody else, why shouldn't you?
See, that's a step deeper than I think sort of naive religious believer who just sort of has been handed this belief system from some authority figure.
Yeah.
And they just say, well, the world must be, I must be going to heaven because I believe, what my pastor told me.
Yeah, I have, but not a buddy, but there's a guy that he doesn't make videos anymore, I don't think, but PH Value said it, and I love the way he said it. Theists, like fundamentalists, he views them as retarded. And then The atheists are just.
That's not nice.
He says atheists in general are just not retarded, but that doesn't mean they're smart.
Yeah.
He just says they're at the stage of not being retarded, just like normal par. He classified spirituality in this depth as really going under par. You're going for your birdie or even eagle,
Right.
metaphorically. But he really said that he doesn't even respond to theists and fundamentalists just because he thinks, how could you be so retarded? And I think atheists need to understand that a lot of spirituals don't really give theists, fundamentalists, the time of day, and
Right.
it just seems like wasted energy posting video responses to them and stuff. So a lot of spirituals seem interested in talking to the atheists because they have a degree of rationality, and so do the spirituals, and they can have common ground at least there. And from there, then that's where all the complex and wars and get started. But
we
still,
shouldn't give up on the fundamentalist religious believers. They're still the majority, at least in this country.
But the question is, will awareness change them over? Like, is there any hope for them?
It changed.
Are they stuck?
It changed other people. I think that's all we can hope for. And I think the game is to sort of communicate with them, whoever they may be, whether, if we're the spirituals, we have got to communicate to the atheists and the theists
and
a message that will convey some sort of awareness to them.
Here's another interesting kind of variable. Tell us what you think about it, Lucas. Is like Matt says, the majority in the country, if you just want to look at the numbers, even on the world, most people fall into that ethnocentric, religious, not spiritual, but religious. My God versus your God, and everybody else is going to burn in hell. That kind of worldview, right? But are all worldviews created equal in terms of the sway they have on reality? As in, like, certain people that are in positions of power, what if they had a certain worldview? Would that have more sway than, say, thousands of people that might be dogmatic, but this one person is atheist and is in a position of power, or spiritual is in a position of power, but also they could be very dogmatic and in a position of power. So see, these other variables get thrown into it, and it really just makes a big chaotic mess of what the hell's going on. How are we even going to manage to sustain our existence with all this chaos going on? But yet there seems to be an order to it. Do you intuit any order amongst chaos, and is that a part of spirituality for you, that intuition?
Yeah, totally. As far as the political thing goes, I think that's more or less, you probably you guys are already on the same level in this, but it's more of a show or anything. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about the political thing, were you saying their actual beliefs, or maybe, because I don't know, it seems like they put on a show of beliefs. George Bush said he was a Christian and he went to church and stuff, and they got publicized and all that shit. And Obama is, I think he's a Christian, I think, and but is he really that? I don't know. What's his spiritual beliefs? Is he?
A lot
is
of
he
people,
compromising himself to do this?
A lot of people feel that he's agnostic or even atheist and just doing this just to get into power.
You can't run for president in the United States and be an atheist. It's just not possible. So I think there's a large degree of self-compromisation going on.
Yeah.
Although George Bush, he may have been genuine about his religion,
Yeah, he could have been.
I think he was a born-again Christian. I think that's why he stopped drinking and got his life together and actually became the president,
Yeah,
He was really motivated by this idea that God chose him and he had a mission,
Did you see Bush too? I saw it.
Yeah. W. Yeah.
Bush is a cooler name.
Yeah.
But I think it was taken, wasn't it?
But this talk of trying to get more holistic or integral political leaders into power makes me question whether or not we should be a little worried about some sort of conspiracies, because it seems that Obama is as good of a guy, as intelligent of a guy as he seems to be. He's still the pawn of a lot of vested interests, like the way the economy has worked, where there's a few very rich bankers that loan money at interest to everybody else, and that it's basically these private interests that run our national bank.
Yep.
So there seems to be a bit of a conflict of interest there, and it seems that the people with the money, the bankers, are sort of they narrow the amount of responses that Obama could take to the economic crisis, for example.
Sure.
So who's to say that our political leaders, even if they were, intelligent and more holistic would be able to change anything. You know, it seems
So,
like
yeah.
the sort of economy and the capitalist consumerist system that we're in now, it almost is so deeply ingrained in our civilization that I don't think it would take a shift on the level of the masses, like a grassroots transformation, rather than a top-down transformation to actually change the deep groove.
Grassroots. In this age, I think it's cyber roots, isn't it, Lucas?
Cyber roots, yeah.
Cyber connection.